In Parsha Shelach, the Torah talks about what was the most tragic night in the history of the Jewish people. The night that the Meraglim, the spies, came back from spying out Eretz Yisrael, and they gave the report to Moshe, Aaron, and the entirety of the Jewish people, and their report was awful. So many falsehoods, and yet the people bought it. And as a result, Vayivku ha'am b'laylahu, the people cried on that night. And Medrash explains to us that Hashem said, what are you crying over? Atem bechisem, bechia shel chinam, you're crying for no reason. And Yikovei lachem bechia l'doros, on this night Hashem says, He was koveya for us. He instituted that would be a night of crying for generations to come, and for the past 2 millennia, the night of Tisha B'Av. That night ended up being night of tragedy for our people, and we continue as Tisha B'Av comes every year, Lo Aleinu. That's the day that we look back at all of the tragedies of Klal Yisrael. So we have to make sure that we cry for the right reasons. The Gemara Maseches Bava Metzia tells us that Sharei Dima'os Lo Ninalu, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when Hashem sees our tears, He doesn't turn away. That there is a Sharei Dima'os, there are gates of tears that Lo Ninalu, those gates are never locked. Says Reb Simcha Banim of Pshischa, if those gates are never locked, and that Hashem accepts our tears so that we're never locked out of the gates of tears. So He asks them, why in the world are there gates in the first place? If they never lock, what's the purpose of the gates being there? And so He suggests as follows, a very powerful message. He says, because at times there are people who cry for naught. They cry for things that are not worthy of being cried for. And when those tears come up to that gate, those tears are kept out. Because the gate of tears, the place of tears that come in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so incredibly valuable that Hashem doesn't turn away from them unless they come for reasons that just don't make sense. We have learned this past year, as we become part of Jewish history, in the tears that we have shed over the tragedies that have befallen the Jewish people in Israel, and the scary time that we are living throughout the world. And we cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only together collectively as Am Yisrael, but individually, people who are facing all kinds of challenges and tragedies and suffering. And we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to see the tears and to make sure that He doesn't turn away from the tears, and that He answers all of those people who are crying, and that every single tear has tremendous value to Him. And at the same time, we balance the reality of when is it that we have tears that are worth crying for, and when is it sometimes that we may cry for something that really isn't as important and isn't as valuable as we really think that it should be. We have to keep that in mind, because tears are precious. And let us be zoche that the Ribono Shel Olam see our tears as authentic, and in doing so put an end to all of the individual suffering, the people going through difficult challenges on so many different levels, and put an end to the suffering of Am Yisrael, of Klal Yisrael. And we should be zoche to be able to see the day that night, the night of Tisha B'Av, become a glorious holiday. B'binyan Beis Hamikdash b'mehera b'yameinu. Amen. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.